Okay, let's go ahead and get started. You guys want to give me an audio check? We'll start looking at some of these charts. Just let me know how the audio sounds. Last time they said it was kind of low. I don't know. I don't mess with my mic, but I can move it forward or back. You guys let me know. All right, so I'm going to just dive in. We'll just look at the... we can look at the broad markets. I'm not trading. I'm not short triple Qs right now. I'm not trading the broad markets or the indices. We do have some individual stocks that obviously I've talked about that seem, they're working. Broad markets kind of want to continue to rally, it looks like. Triple Qs here, the biggest thing that I'm really looking for is, on the daily trend line, you've got I've got it kind of marked out, these little support lines. So that's my trend right now. That's the uptrend. And, we need to see that break for a sell signal. Otherwise, it's going to continue to rally. There's no resistance overhead. If you look back, there's just no resistance. So there's nothing to really target in terms of, like an objective short into resistance. So the only thing we can really do is look at support and breaks of support, all right? Otherwise, it's going to, higher is, where it's looking at right now. I think it's probably running out of steam, but, again, we've kind of taken a few shots. There was a bearish engulfing there. It worked initially, but then they popped it. Bearish engulfing here. They popped it over the last couple days, which is interesting because it's kind of low volume right through here. This is like holiday trading, so yeah, it makes sense that they're gonna pop things and run some stops. But so that's all I have there on the triple Qs. Let's look at any, let's kind of dive around. Let's look at the small caps. I haven't looked at that one for a while. I don't point it out a whole lot. There's the small caps. And you can see well off the highs. The all-time highs in the small caps were made back in November of 2021. So, that's over 2 years ago. The small caps have not made a new high. So it just goes to show this entire market, because of how the indices are weighted, their market cap weighted. It's basically NVIDIA. But yeah, and it's the other mega caps too, but it's basically a very top heavy market. You look at stuff like FedEx or, like FedEx is kind of a shipper. Well, FedEx actually I think is doing okay. It's doing a little better. UPS is, there's FedEx. I've been kind of charting that one. That's at resistance, and resistance there. And it is a divergent high as well. So, there's a little trade idea. Objective to short at resistance, which is that trend line. And if you did, you'd be profitable. Not by much, but look, there's the trend line. If you short there, you're down here. So, profitable. They might, a lot of the times when you see stuff up here, they kind of pop it around and, they'll play games with you. But its resistance, I think it's going to hold, and it's a divergent high. So, and then like UPS, this one for some reason seems to be suffering well off its highs. Roll out, you can see that one's clearly in a downtrend line. Not sure why my trend line got adjusted, but clearly in a downtrend. So, those are some economic stocks. What else do we want to look at? IWM. Yeah, just kind of chopping sideways. Looks like it's holding this kind of support right here, about 199.80. But in general, sideways money right now. What else looks really good? I'm just trying to point out the stuff I think looks. I mean, home builders, that's working. These are all working on the downside. This is the one I'm in personally, but DHI was fine. I mean, in general, the home builder ETF is trending lower. So, you know, my target is still down here, the next profit target. So we've got another, kind of mark it out, another about 4% downside on that one before we hit that level of support in the 200-day. And you should see some buyers try to at least hold it there. I suspect they drop this thing into earnings and then maybe it could get a bounce after earnings. But the home builders are rolling over. Let's look at, we can look at the sectors. The financials look like they're starting to roll over too. Here's XLF. The biggest thing that I see here on the sector is this divergent high right there. That's a divergent high. And divergences often get sold into. It did get sold into. We're kind of holding this level of resistance about 41.64. Do they go on and want to make another divergent high? I don't know that. You know, it's hard to say. But they do look like they're starting to roll over. A little more downside. You know, you've got negative divergence that's been building for a long time. And look at this momentum. You know, look at the PPO. Like, it's just dropping. So usually that can play out. Divergences can build for a while, and then you see the trend reverse. So that's what I'd be looking for. There might be a little trend line right here to watch. Potential trend line there. It's only a potential because I have 2 data points. So, all right, that's the financials, industrials. Let's see here. Yeah, kind of topping out. You know, you can see here just really going nowhere, but momentum's dropping off. So that looks like it's topping out. Energy. Let's take a look at energy, XLE. There's a support line there. Looks like it's heading down to that support line personally. Not sure what happened to all my trend lines, why they got messed up. So that's all I have on that one. Looks like it's heading lower. Obviously XLK, which is your tech sector, is going to be at all-time highs. This is basically the entire market. Kind of mark that out. There's a, support line there to watch. Do have divergence right now. We didn't have it on this last push up here, but we do have it now. So if that starts to turn down, that would be negative divergence. Again, no sell signals in the tech sector. I just don't see any right now. Healthcare, XLV. Yeah, oh, I didn't notice. You do have that little low right there. I think we probably want to go like that. Yeah, we want to do that. So we'll just call that still holding this support line right there. Okay, so that needs to break. XLY, consumer discretionary. Pushing out, that's probably all-time highs. Let me look. Nope, actually not. Nothing really there that I see. That's here's real estate, or sorry, retail. Retail. These are divergent highs, these little spikes. That's usually what they look like. They kind of pop it up, spike it up, make a divergent high, and then sell it down. I think we're probably sitting right there on support. XLP, consumer staples. Yeah, it's adjusted for dividends. Okay, so I'd probably go with that, somewhere right in there. Looks like it's still holding support, okay? So these have to break for sell signals, otherwise trend is up. All right, so that's all I have there. Trying to think what else is really interesting. that I haven't pointed out in my videos or in the private member group. This DPC is working. You know, this was a short idea in the private member group. Looks like it's breaking, you know, broke support, broke this uptrend line, then broke the first level support. Should head lower. CMG is, they're trying to hold. It broke this uptrend line, but then you got some support right about 61.50, and they're holding that so far. So that needs to go for the next sell signal. And if that goes, it should head lower. Otherwise, they could, you know, they can always run up and make a new divergent high. LOY still looks like it's hanging in there. You know, it's still, nothing's great on that one. This one, I took another short on this one, ANF. Looked like it broke on Friday. That's what I got. I think I pointed it out to the private member group, but there's support. There's a break of trend, negative divergence. So that one looks like it's about to head lower, and looks like this move up here, which is basically a run up into earnings. Because look, it just kind of pushed it up, and then there's the earnings, big old push, stop raid. It's gone nowhere since that big push, and it's just kind of, so I think it just topped out. I'll probably add to that if it continues to work. So that's that one. And then let's see what else is interesting. Schwab, that's a yeah, there's not too much else. So I'll jump into your guys' stuff and we'll wrap up. All right, so Intel. Yeah, so see, I talked about this last time you guys asked me about it, and that was resistance. See, I had that line marked out, 32.14, and you can see that's where it closed on Friday. So the buy signal comes on a break of that, and if you break that, I think you could run up to this trend line. You know, that looks like a good downtrend line to really watch. So, but it doesn't have a buy signal. It's just stuck in this little sideways range. So a break here could run up. Might happen next week. You do have bullish divergence signaling it's a bullish setup for sure. Just need that buy signal. Again, it's about 32.15. Not by pennies, but you know, you'll see it. Like what I like to do sometimes, if you're watching it when it happens, and if it starts to break out and it really starts to look like it runs okay, you can grab it intraday. Just be prepared that sometimes they'll give you a whipsaw. They'll pump it up above that key level just to sell it off in the afternoon. And so you have to be willing to kind of, you know, you jump the gun on an entry, you have a better potential for reward, but also a higher risk because you haven't closed that daily candle. So that's it, you know, but you can manage your risk, take a half position, add to it on a daily close, stuff like that. No buy signal on that one yet, but it looks close. This could be the beginning of a push up to that trend line. Excuse me. KMX. That's my support line. That's my resistance. And, you know, it's just stuck in it. It's actually, this is a pattern. I forget the name of it. It's like an ascending triangle. These typically resolve to the upside because what's happening psychologically is their sellers are sitting here at this 87.50, but the buyers, because there's kind of more people are interested in buying it at higher prices, so that's what's happening. So you've got buyers, they're buying it higher and higher and higher, and then the sellers are just sitting there selling it at that 87.50. Ultimately, you come to a battleground where the buyers meet the sellers, and it, you know, typically resolves to the upside. But you don't have, there's no buy signal. Support's down there, resistance up there, and that's it. E interface, ENPH. solar stocks. Well, I don't see anything I really love about it. Looks like you've got some support right about in here, so I think you're probably at that level of support. Earnings coming up. You're at support. You know, that's the best I can do. I mean, seems like it's at some at least a minor support, so I think you could get a bounce here, but I don't love it. This looks like larger support, but yeah, I mean, I don't think it's a great long, but yeah, it doesn't look like a short either. It just kind of looks like dead money to me. But if I had to pick in the short term, I'd probably want to just maybe make a little play off this level here, like that. Beyond Meat or MP. MP's the battery one, right? Or is that the lithium miner? Oh, that's the rare earth stuff. Yeah. This was kind of a pump stock during COVID, I think. Yeah. Was it a SPAC? Yep, it's a SPAC. Anything that opens up at like $10 is basically a SPAC. At least I would assume it's a SPAC. This is back during like COVID and maybe right before COVID, when the SPACs they were basically a big scam, but hot money chases basically. So clearly a downtrend line on that one. Pretty well defined downtrend. I gotta kind of. Yeah, I'm going to go with that. And right in the middle, so who knows from here, could do this, could go sideways, could go down. It's not objective, really, so when it's right in the middle, I don't know. Nobody really knows, but I don't see any divergence. So in general, I would just think down. Divergence tells me to look for a trend reversal, and I don't see that, so that tells me trend is still down. And until I see that trend reversal or signs of a trend reversal, then it's not bullish. It's just continue with the trend. All right, so that's that one. You might, so it might dip down and hit the support, and then you put in bullish divergence. Okay, I start to see that. Okay, then maybe I want to buy it a little bit at support, and then if it breaks resistance here, you can take another position for a push up. But it's all just speculative right now. We'll take a look at Beyond Meat. Just another one that people got buried in during the, I think there's there's a lot of stocks that are actually down. Everybody thinks the market's so bullish, and in general, like the tech sector, because of the market cap weighting, pulls the indices up. But it's basically the indices are just showing the strength of the mega cap tech stocks and not of anything else. You got stuff like this that this is just let me look here. I don't see any bullish divergence. You can see that you're kind of making higher lows here and the momentum's moving up. But, yeah, I don't really see any bullish divergence. It's a isometrical triangle is what these are called. And so it's a indecision pattern. So whichever way it breaks is typically the trend. So that's it. Your resistance up here. Okay, you're coming to the apex, so a decision will be made soon. I'd keep an eye on it. It's Um, it's not objective. It's not technically objective to go long. I think there's probably a long here, honestly, just given the probably the valuation and what's going on. I don't think this company is going out of business. I mean, I see their stuff everywhere, but technically I don't have a reason to go long. So I put it on my long setup because I'd like to wait and see if there's a breakout of this isometrical triangle. And if we get that, it would be bullish. I think Costco had a pattern like this one on the weekly chart, if I remember. Let me look. Yeah, I think this was it. See this? It's this. See this isometrical triangle here? Okay, see it, apex? And then whichever way it breaks is typically the trend, and it broke there. So, and then there's your trend. So that's, yeah, that's on a weekly chart. So, and again, this BYND might take a while, but, and see the momentum moving up right here? So you're in an isometrical triangle, but you're not making lower lows. You don't have divergence. You do have rising momentum. You have rising price. But equally, you could say that at the top, you've got, you know, falling price and falling momentum. So it's an isometrical triangle. Whichever way it breaks is typically, probability says that's the next trend. So, yeah. So that's that one. CMG, that's Chipotle. I think I already covered that one. On the weekly, you broke. I mean, obviously, and you have negative divergence. So I think it's going lower, but you need to take out that support level, and they could just pop up, make a new divergent high before breaking. So again, the next sell signal is 61.46. It's not objective to short right here. If I go to the daily, it depends on your time frame. If you're like a trend trader or a long-term trader, then I think you can ride out whatever, you know. But if you're looking to short it objectively, you know, it's objective to short when it breaks trend. That's objective, right? You sell down. That's objective, back test of resistance. And it's objective if you break support. Anything in between is not objective. So, you know, if you shorted here, you'd maybe want to cover at support and then wait for it to do what it wants to do, or you could even reverse and set a stop below, and then short on a break of support. Snowflake. So Snowflake, you don't have any bullish divergence. You had slight divergence right through here, actually. I mean, here's some bullish divergence. See the momentum starting to move up while price drifted lower. So that's your divergence. Let me move this trend line down. Can I make a trend line here? I don't know. Okay, so if I had to guess, I guess it's probably going to head up to this. There's only 2 data points, but, you know, I think it's going to hit that and then maybe reject. I wouldn't give it much more beyond that, to be honest. Looks like it's in a downtrend line, but this divergence here signaled that maybe it was going to head up to the trend line. So you break, you know, if it comes up here and you get a reaction, pulls back, now you've got a 3rd data point. Then if it breaks out, that would be a breakout, an objective breakout, as long as there's no divergence in place. All right, URI, United Rentals. So there's support. It's about 621-ish. And we're still above support, so no definitive sell signals. The 200 days coming up. So, A break of 621 should send this right down to the 200-day. There's support right here at 587. Long-term support's down here. I think it's heading lower, but because I see some negative divergence, like that's just right there. Big, long, extended divergence. But it's got to break that 621, or it's about 621. You break, you hit, you're going to likely see some buyers at the 200. Something like that is what I would think. Again, got to break that 621 though. Until then, it's sideways money. Disney. So your sell signal, you broke trend right here. Big gap down. And it actually closed below, which is interesting. And then, boom, they back tested it, but rejected. So I guess that's your sell signal. That was your sell signal on the break of the uptrend that started back in October of 2023. I think we caught this long. I mean, I was on this long here because that's your bearish rising wedge. That's your bullish divergence. Or sorry, your bullish falling wedge. Your bullish divergence. There's your breakout and buy signal. There's your push up. Okay, and then you made negative divergence here. So it's just, swing trading. Bullish falling wedge, bullish divergence, trend up, bearish negative divergence, break a trend, trend down. But let's go to where we're at now, and we've got some bullish divergence. It's just starting to show up right there on the daily chart. Okay, we're just below the 200-day. I got that as a potential. It's just potential because only 2 data points. Looks like a bullish falling wedge again with bullish divergence. All right, so yeah, I'd be looking for a long on that one more than anything. That's support, and then obviously resistance, and this might need to develop a little more. And then, and then maybe a breakout. So no breakout yet though. KHC. It's been a while since I looked at this one. There's a big gap on this one that I don't think it's ever been filled. Let me look. Where's that gap? Well, maybe it did get filled, this big gap right there. Well, it's kind of, this is like dead money, but it's basically big sideways. This thing's just stuck in a sideways range. We're down near the lower end of the range for sure. This is a dividend payer, so people, let me look what the dividend's paying. 5%. So let's see what we got going on here. You've got slight bullish divergence, just barely there, so it might need to develop some more, which would mean lower lows in price. I'd go with something like that. Let me narrow it down to the hourly chart. I guess that's the best I can do. Not my favorite trend line, but so basically I've got a downward channel, some bullish divergence, but no breakout. So maybe look for a potential break of that channel for a buy signal, and then you probably get another swing up. Eventually it'll break out of this range, but it's sideways for now. This has been going sideways since, 3 years or so. All right, Ulta. So I got support right down here. Don't have, I mean, I guess you could call it bullish divergence because you're making kind of equal lows, but you know, this might want to spike down and put in a divergent low. I don't see enough of a clear picture to tell me of divergence. That was a divergent low right there, and boom, you get a spike, but I don't know. Might want to build. They might want to run some stops and spike it down. I don't want to short it. Let's put it that way. It doesn't look like a short to me, but doesn't look like a great long either, especially since it's not taking off. It's just kind of hanging there. Might need to build a base more, which would require probably some pushes down, run some stops out. CLSK. Looks like it's topping out to me. You've got an uptrend. You've got negative divergence. You broke trend. They're holding this support right through here, but it's not going down, but it's not going up. Momentum's drying up. Looks like it's topping out. Eventually, I think what will happen is you're going to get like a gap down, and it's going to trap all the longs right there. All right, you get a gap down, and then that's a good amount of longs that when you get that gap down, they all start to sell or stops get run, and you get kind of that flush, maybe down to this level. All right. So it's not a short because there's no sell signal, but it's definitely not a long, and I think you're probably going to get that sell signal when you break 1495-ish and you get that flush down. So all right, covered CMG and snow, American Airlines. So that's a reaction low. Yeah, this was the big earnings, or I don't know what this was, why this gap down. There was something, I don't see news, but I thought there's a big gap down there. Usually when you have a big gap down, you start to build bullish divergence. So there it is, and then I would go down to the hourly chart for this one. Maybe something like that. I don't know, something like that. It's, again, I think because this reaction low, back to the daily here. Oh, well, actually, it shows it right there. Because that reaction low is so obvious and you're right there, you're either not going to hit it, so which means that the buyers are going to be right about here, or you're going to crash through it and run stops and then probably recover. So I don't know which one. What I would do is I'd probably just hang tough and wait for maybe a break out of that downtrend line there for a buy signal. Did BABA just break out? I have no idea. No, I don't think so. They said did BABA just break out? They're probably looking at something like this, I would guess. But then if I go down to the hourly, this is probably what they're looking at. And then, on the hourly, sure, you could say that's a breakout there on the hourly. Looks to be kind of trending up a little bit. So yeah, I guess you could say that. It's just on the hourly though. So usually hourly charts are good for, kind of a few days to maybe a week or two push. I don't see anything on the daily, but it's okay. I mean, I wouldn't short it. I definitely would not be interested in shorting it. So I guess if I had to pick, I'd probably say yes, it did just break out actually, and it's pushing higher. So that's my opinion on that one. AMD getting ready to run. Well, what, to the upside? Because I thought it had maybe already run. Let me look. So here's bullish divergence there. All right, that's a divergent low. Yeah, I wouldn't short it. Let's put it that way. Looks like it's holding this uptrend line. There was some divergence, did break out. You can see it broke out and then back tested for a week or so and push. And it looks like it's holding an uptrend. So, you're going to have resistance at that reaction high where, that's where it closed. So that is resistance. So it's not a long here at resistance, but if it breaks out, that could be a long and you could push. Looks like there's another level, big reaction candle there. So I think that's your next level, 182.45. It might just push right up to that, but we're not there yet. It's about 6.5% up to that level of resistance. Then obviously you have the reaction highs. Mark those out. All right, that's what I got. I don't want to short it, but yeah, I mean it does look like it could kind of push a little more to the upside, but no buy signals. All right, two more, then I'm gonna wrap up. Amazon, what is that at all-time highs? Or I mean, I would assume it's kind of hanging in there. Yeah. Is it all-time highs? Yeah. So I mean, you got negative divergence, but there's no sell signals. So the only, support is that trend line, So I think they're going to sell into it and come down here, but you got to break the trend line for a sell signal. Otherwise, it's just at all-time highs, and it's not objective to go long at all-time highs. It's also not objective to short because you have no resistance overhead. So if you are long, you can trail stops. It doesn't make sense to go short. The only play right now is either wait, if you want to short it, wait for a break of support, or if you're long, trail stops. It's not objective to put new money to work at these all-time highs. I mean, you could put new money to work on a breakout of that resistance right there. So that candle here, but right up here, it's not objective. So that's it. Trail stops. All right, one more. GFI's gold stock. It's probably, I'll do two more. I'm going to do GFI and I'm going to do this Gary network. You got to give me the ticker because I don't even know what that one is. So we'll do GFI. Well, what's CRM? That's Salesforce. Let me look at, see, I just want to see if there's any, okay, this is interesting. All right, this one actually is looking like it's not an actionable trade right here and now, but maybe a short soon. So you've got support, and gap down. Boom. So that's a sell signal, but it's not a sell signal I'd want to short on because it's a gigantic gap down. So not objective to short when you've gapped down that far. But now you're starting to run back into resistance. So, if they can start pushing it into this trend line, then that would be an objective short. This is a big definitive sell signal, but it's not objective. So this starts to become more objective, and it's the most objective at the trend line. So that it's not bad. We just need to see that push up a little more. Where's it? Shorts. Okay, and then what GFI is Goldfield. That's kind of a penny, low gold stock. Uptrend, higher highs, higher lows. Trending higher. It's not objective at this area, but down at the support it is. But trending higher. I don't see a change in trend. So that's it. Well, I can't look at Gary Network because you didn't give me the symbol. So, oh, all right. We're just gonna go Tesla. This is the last one, guys. Thanks for joining. Drop me a thumbs up if you haven't done so. If you're not in the private member group, feel free to join up. I'm throwing out a lot of trade ideas. It's very similar to kind of these live streams where I kind of just point out charts and give kind of key levels, but I try to like cherry pick the stuff. And on the public videos, I do the broad market analysis. It can be a little redundant because I just try to cover the broad market analysis every day, even if nothing's really changed. When I'm putting out the video, people want to see the broad market analysis, and then I'll throw out a couple individual trade ideas. Private member group, I'm basically just focused on objective trade ideas, and that's it. So this one, here's Tesla, and long-term downtrend line is right here. All right, you can see all these reactions. It's a very obvious trend line because we've had just very distinct reactions right on it. So we're there again. It makes sense because it's such an obvious trend line. Yeah, I think they're playing games here. That's my opinion. I think they'll pop, they're popping it right now. They might pop it for a few more days. I don't think it's going to run away here to the upside. But yeah, pop it, run some stops, make people think it's breaking out. And then back below the trend line. And then down we go. So that's what I'm thinking on that one. I am short this one. Not a huge position. I've got some. I'll add to it if it does what I think it's going to do. The RSI is sitting here at 85.68. So it took a lot of energy for it to basically do this right there. So how much further can it go when it's sitting there at 85? And what you want to do is typically, what is the trend? Like, how overbought does this thing get? And so we'll look, and you just want to go back and look in time. This one obviously is can be a pump stock. This one looks like that's about as overbought as it gets, which is like 93-ish or 93-ish. So it might have a little more. And yeah, that makes sense. I think you could do something like this. I think it's going to hang out in this area and kind of pump a little, maybe a little higher, push up into that crazy overbought area, not run away, not really signal like a definitive breakout, but just kind of grind higher while it becomes more overbought and then fail. All right. That's my guess. So yeah, I am short this one, willing to give it a little room. You got to give this one a little room. This thing runs, it's pretty volatile. So what I prefer to do, how I manage the risk is I don't load up. I take a smaller position size, and then when it starts to show me that I'm right, because what I think it's going to do is grind higher, push up a little more, and then you're going to get a big red candle. That big red candle will be the sign that, yeah, I was right on that one. I can add to my short if I see that. And if I don't see that and it does just keep pushing higher, and maybe even a big green candle, or kind of grind around here and see the RSI come down and start to lighten up, and then big green candle, that tells me, oh, I'm wrong. The downtrend's over. Time to get out of my partial position, take the loss, and then and move on. So partial position, and I'll add if I'm right. And that's all I've got, guys. So have a good weekend. Take care. Catch you guys on the next one.